Well, welcome, Christian Metal Group community. My name is Jimmy, and we have Jay. We are part of the admin team there at leadership for the Christian Metal Group. Today we have Brian with Burial Extraction.
Yeah.
How you doing today,
How y'all
Brian?
doing?
Awesome, man. So tell us, what state are you located in?
Texas, just Dallas area, Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm in Collin County, just north of Dallas.
Nice. So, Brian, did you grow up in a religious home?
Yes, I did. Very much so. In fact, my father, not so much later in his life, but he was actually ordained even. But yeah, I did. I grew up in a Christian home. I'm also I'm a twin brother, which a lot of people don't know. But I say that because a lot of times I say we, and I'm just telling you ahead of time, because when I say we, it's usually because my brother and I are doing things together. So we started going to youth group, junior high. That's really where we got introduced. That's where I think that's where Christ became more personal to us. But yeah, we grew up in a faith-based home. We grew up in a Baptist home.
Which one of you looks better?
Oh, it's got to be me. It's got to be me. Yeah.
That's
unless they say it's him, and then it's probably still me. Just the reverse of the twin.
Yeah.
There we go. Absolutely. So what got you into metal? Like, talk about your introduction. Well, maybe in the music overall and then metal specifically.
Well, I'll tell you what, I always loved music because my father played guitar and he introduced me to a lot of music. When I was young, Dad introduced me to like the Doobie Brothers, the Beach Boys, that kind of sound. And then my mom actually introduced me to Santana, Black Sabbath, and Led Zeppelin. And when I had one of those old cassette players back in the early 80s, and when my dad bought some Keith Green, and so I grew up on Keith Green.
I love Keith Green.
Yeah, I still love Keith Green.
Yeah,
he's
absolutely.
Awesome. So I grew up on Keith Green.
That's one person where I say I will use the word anointed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And his wife wrote a really good book. If you haven't, it's a biography about his life, and it's really good.
I think, yes, I actually, no compromise.
No compromise. Yep.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good book. So yeah, I grew up with Keith Green, and then I'd say just listen to a lot of mainstream music, and probably I don't know, mid 80s, I was getting into some more of like the hard rock with like Poison, Def Leppard, that kind of sound. And then I guess to speed it up, one of my buddies brought over Injustice for All when it first came out, and I was hooked. That's it. That's what kicked off metal. From there it went to thrash metal, and then getting into death metal, and started getting into Christian metal probably in about 8th grade, originally with like Petra and White Heart, and then into White Cross, Bloodgood, Striper, and then from there it just went up to Believer, Vengeance Rising, Sacrament, and by the time I got to Mortification, Scrolls of the Megaloth, I was hooked on death metal.
So I got to ask you being from Texas, where does ZZ Top play into this? Surely you listen to some ZZ Top.
Oh yeah, of course, definitely back in the day. So I was born in Austin, and I started off. We moved down to Corpus Christi, kind of raised down there, but actually we moved to California. We moved out to the West Coast when I was about 6-7 years old, and I ended up going. That's why I don't have an accent. So I went to school out there, and we didn't come back this way till I was about 18 years old.
Okay.
So I had a lot of influence from the West Coast. In fact, going to high school in Southern California, that's where I got introduced to Sanctuary and all those. I used to go to all those shows back in the 80s, all those guys. Deliverance, Tourniquet, got to see all those guys.
So what do you remember a band from Texas called Black Horse? Did you ever hear them?
No.
They were a 3-piece, very similar to ZZ Top, and just played that Southern. And I discovered them online, and I finally found I did not get an original copy because they were only limited press, and so
Yeah.
they sell for like $150 to $300.
Oh man.
But I found a repress from Italy that was just in a record shop locally, and I was so excited to find that because I love that album. You have
That's
to
cool.
check them out. Yeah. So, what was the first metal concert you remember going to, like out in California?
The first one I went to was before I could drive. That's all I remember because my mom dropped me and my buddies off.
Mm.
And it was Deliverance
Oh
and
wow,
Tourniquet
Wow.
and Undercover actually during
that's
Balance of Power.
incredible. That's
Yeah, that was the lineup.
it was probably $5 to get in, right?
Oh, probably. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that. I
Uh,
bought a Deliverance shirt. Loved all those bands. I was really into that Balance of Power record. That was a great record. So I
Nice.
went to go see them, and I think I had stopped. I think I had stopped the bleeding at the time, but I think that's kind of where I was introduced to Deliverance. Actually, was at
Okay.
that show.
Nice.
And they've gone on to be one of my favorite bands.
wow, that's crazy, man. So okay, so as far as burial extraction, when did you all start that band?
Okay.
And then, dang, I almost hate to ask two questions, but yeah, when did you start the band, and what influenced your decision to go in the musical direction you went in?
Okay. So burial. I think this is kind of cool. So burial extraction actually started originally in
Mm.
1992,
Wow.
and it was called Burial.
Oh,
And
okay.
I was still in high school, about 17 years old,
Mhm.
and me and some of my buddies we got together. I had just purchased Scrolls of the Megaloth, and I was in a couple of Christian bands before that in high school, a couple of just metal bands or whatever. But when I heard Scrolls, I was like, man, I want to do Christian death metal.
Nice.
So we formed a band in '92, and we were called, like I said, we were called Burial, and we played a few local shows. I did actually play in San Diego, believe this or not. I played in San Diego with POD, and
Oh,
it was
wow.
before they got signed. They were
Mhm.
just a little small act. I think my buddies still have video of it and everything like that. And there were a
Mhm.
few other local bands that we played with down in Southern California. And then, like a lot of bands, we broke up. Um,
Mhm.
I never let go of wanting to do that. I mean, I went on, got married, had kids, all that good stuff. I've done some other music things, mostly ministry related and church related, but I always wanted to go back and do that. So I guess long story short, just a few years ago, I was like, I think I'm going to break out the old songs that I wrote back in high
Oh,
school and see
nice.
what I can do with this.
Yeah. So is this are you a one man band or what with this
Well,
recording?
so it's Derek and I.
Okay.
Derek Curzon and I are the ones that do barrel extraction. And
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I got you. Okay, it's all coming together now. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. Well, the way it worked is the first record, A Shout of Things to Come. There's 8 songs on there. 5 of those songs I wrote in high school.
Okay.
And I changed the lyrics. I mean, it was 30 years ago, so I changed the lyrics a little bit. I changed some of the composition a little bit, but most of the riffs from, for instance, Victory Over Death, and Purified in Blood. Victory Over Death used to be called Cessation of Death, and Purified in Blood was called Dipped in Blood. And they were both written in 1992, and the same riffs were used when we went to re-record it. So I mean, like I said, I'm like 49. So a couple years ago, I was getting online. I was like, hey, anybody want to start a death metal band? And to be honest with you, it's a little hard when you're a salesman with a mortgage,
Sure.
with no background, trying to tell people you want to do Christian death metal.
Yeah.
So so I ended up hooking up with Derek, and because he's in Amarillo, so I
Yeah.
hooked up with him, sent him a demo, and he said, "Yeah, well, we'll do some session work," and that just kind of spurred on a relationship, a friendship. And he's such a great guy, so dynamic at what he does, and so we were able to keep Barrel Extraction going with that first record,
That's
and
so
then
cool.
the EP we just released too.
You can I mean your possibilities are unlimited since there's like no instrument he can't play. So
Mhm.
Exactly, yeah, we could throw in harps and
you
organs
can
and
do whatever you
whatever,
need. Yeah.
gazebos.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So who does what on the record overall? Like, who's responsible for what on
Yeah,
especially
so I mean I play guitar, but my main instrument is bass. That's what I've always been comfortable with. It's what I grew up with. Like I said, I did even after burial. I did youth ministries for a while when I was college age. So I did a lot of the praise bands for like junior high and high school and different
okay.
churches. I did some ministry where with it was through Youth for Christ. I played bass. I'd go to other countries and we did music, and then the local youth pastors would reach out to people. So I did that for a few years, and then I played in worship teams and whatnot. That was all bass. So I feel mostly comfortable with the bass. So
Yeah.
I did all the bass. I wrote all the music and the lyrics. I did the bass and the vocals over a drum track, and then Derek came in and filled in all the guitar and re-recorded the drums.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so we're just gonna dive right into like one of the more controversial subjects that seem to be prevalent in the group when it comes to the relationship between Christianity and the term death metal. So there's so many people that say, it's death metal. What does that have to do with Christ? What does that have to do with Christianity? It's so negative.
Can't be
So,
Christian with the word death in there.
right, exactly. So
Definitely
let's
do not put a skull on your
don't,
t-shirt.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is controversial to the degree that and y'all probably agree, it almost doesn't matter what you say. I think somebody's not going to like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My take is that it's a style of music. I mean, it's called death metal. It could have been called anything. That's just what it's called, and it's a style. And so I play the style of death metal. But and I'm sure y'all have, if you read the lyrics,
Right.
it's really obvious that we're talking about Jesus Christ, and we're talking about who he is, what he's done for our lives. One guy did a review of the first record, A Shadow of Things to Come. He said it was the most positive death metal record he had ever heard in his life.
That's a good thing.
And it is positive because
Yeah.
we celebrate who Christ is and what he did for us. I mean, how can you not have something positive out of it? But it's under the guise, or it's in the influence of a death metal sound. And to me, it's just a style of music.
Yeah. So have you gotten pushback personally for your band, the style and all that? Have you had to deal with a lot of that over the years?
Very little pushback, to be honest with you. I've had a little bit. I just, if it's something specific that somebody has a problem with, I might share some scripture or just kind of what I just said, just some personal opinion about that or whatnot. And honestly, at the end of the day, I'm not going to push too hard. I mean, if that's somebody's personal conviction, that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If that's the way they feel, I'm not going to force them or push them too far. I'll make my point, and if I can let somebody see that, hey, there's nothing wrong with this, it's fine, that's great. But if they're not going to get there, that's okay too, because that's their own conviction, and I'm okay with that. It's just, at the end of the day, it's music, it's style. It's all right.
Yeah, and I think the lyrical content really is what matters. That's what makes a band, spiritual or any certain type of religion. Even that's what makes the music what it is. The style is irrelevant. It's a just
right.
later.
Yeah, I think so too. So, and I mean, I've tried to write music that doesn't talk about my relationship with Christ, and it's not really, I mean, I've done it once or twice, but it's not my thing. I prefer to speak those truths. It's what's on my heart. It's what I want to do.
You write from your experience and what.
Yeah.
That's good.
Guess that answers that question about whether or not you're a Christian band or a band of Christians.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I did it because I really enjoy it, and I was able to do some stuff with Testimony of Apocalypse, and maybe we can do some other things in the future.
Oh, nice. What did you do with them?
I did the vocals and lyrics to 2 of the tracks off of their last record, The Following.
Cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. If you've heard that record, I did Darkly Through Mirrors, and I did When We Were Dead. So those two tracks on that Testament of Apocalypse record is my vocals and my lyrics.
Yeah, I really like what they're doing. They got a
Oh, it was an
good
honor.
thing going on there. We interviewed
Yes.
them last year. Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome guys. I love them. I love them. And I'm excited what they're doing with Derek here coming up. They're
Right.
already starting to put stuff together. You know that because I watched that video that you did with Derek the other night. So yeah, he's already doing recording for that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Super cool, man.
Yeah.
Wow. So as far as the recording is concerned, do you record from home or do you like have a prefer a studio that you go to?
Yeah, so I go to Derek's place, and he's got his studio there in Amarillo. What I did is, when I did all this, this is before there was any digital. So we literally recorded on, it was like a 8-track cassette. You know, is you do it on a cassette, and then you go back and you do different parts and build on it. That's kind of, I mean, that's how I did stuff, and then. When I had to submit a demo these couple years back to Derek, I had to go out and buy the what is it, the audio box, the PreSonus. I had no idea how to use that stuff. This is a guy who didn't get on the internet till he was 24.
Oh wow.
So so it was new to me. And I just kind of messed around with it and figured it out. And then yeah, so I do the demo at home with some MIDI drums, the bass and vocals. And then I send that to Derek, and then I work all over Texas, and so when I go out to Amarillo to work, I'll stop by his place at night, and we put down like all the bass and vocals and
Oh,
everything.
nice. So when you got Burial up and running, or it might have been later, but did you put it on MySpace?
Actually, we did have a MySpace page for, and you know what? I've tried to go back and see. I've even tried to see if I can find some old, you know, like in the cookies, you can sometimes find snapshot. I can't find any of it. I mean, it was there for a while after all of that, but yeah, I haven't been able to find it in a long time.
I can actually still log in.
One recording,
yeah.
And I wish I could find that recording. I might have a buddy that has it literally on cassette, but there's one recording we did of Secession of Death, which is Victory Over Death Now, and I would love to find that. So I could put it out there just so people can hear it.
Was that on MySpace, that recording?
Yeah, it was.
Well, I can log in, so I'll have to see what I can find.
You can try to find it. Yeah, it was under Burial, and the guy that actually did the vocals. Well, I did the vocals on the song, but our vocalist in high school, he actually created the MySpace page.
Okay.
It might be called like Burial Southern California or Burial Temecula or something like that. I'm not sure how he has it written.
Yeah. Okay.
If you find it, you got to share that with me though, because I don't even have it.
Yeah. That's a good deal.
Yeah, that's so wild, man.
So what so you released an album, well, was it an EP or it was a full album in 2023? And then
full record.
Yeah, and then you just released the new one's an EP.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So with the EP, are you working on another full album?
Yeah, I've already got another full record written. I've already got it written. It's not recorded, but it's written. So you know, we'll give it a little time, and yeah, I think we're gonna try to do that. I don't want to say too much, but I'm also hoping in the future that we can maybe do some live shows too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You know, there's a couple different things that, you know, we can work with and see what we can come up with. But yeah, hopefully we'll have some more stuff rolling as we're going. So
that's
awesome. What I'm shooting for.
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty cool. I'll tell you. So,
okay.
All right. So yeah, I guess I'll take the next question for sure.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out, okay, is Jimmy gonna go next? You know, just be like whatever. But are you involved in any other projects, or is this the only one you're working on?
Currently, this is the only project, but I've thought about doing some other stuff. I think I'm gonna do a few other things. I'm currently self-employed, and I have been for a few years.
Welcome. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are we.
So, well, the one thing people don't know about that is on one hand, you work a lot harder,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But on the other hand, I've got a little playability with some stuff, and so
Right.
that's why I've been able to get into some music. And so yeah, I'm hoping to kind of find some time to do a few other side projects. Yes.
So
It's
what is
so
your what's your business?
I'm in sales. I
Okay.
sell, yeah, I sell flooring. That's what I do.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
I'm like a glorified door-to-door vacuum salesman. And I just I try, it's a little more complicated than that. But I mean, yeah, I drive around uh all through Texas and through Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, and Missouri,
Oh
and
wow. So
sell
are you
sell flooring.
blasting impending doom and living in sacrifice when you pull up
Absolutely.
to the
Absolutely.
house?
Yeah. Everywhere I go. Yep.
Awesome.
absolutely.
So good.
Yeah.
So
So, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, did back when you had burial and all, did y'all actually tour and things like that back then?
Well, we just did some local shows. I mean,
Okay.
it was real different back then because like one, we were kids, and two, there was no cell phones or internet or Google. It was just all kind of word of mouth. So we actually did do a few local shows, and then like I said, we played with POD in San Diego. That was like a I don't know if it was, you'd call it a festival, but it was like an all-day show. There was about 5 or 6 bands. They're all from
Yeah.
Southern California, and then we
Sure, we'll
played a
call it a
few.
festival.
Yeah, and we played with a few other local bands.
Okay.
We lived in Temecula, which is in Riverside County, and we did a few local shows in Riverside just over the course of a few months. Really, we were together for just a couple of years, and so yeah, just a little bit, and then we moved on. My brother, Brad, he actually went on to college in Arizona, and he restarted Burial again, and in Phoenix, and he did a few local shows in Phoenix with even a few new songs, and then that was it until we got Burial Extraction a few years ago.
Nice.
All right, cool. So, are you all signed to a label? Are you self-releasing everything?
No, we're on the Karen Collective.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on the Karen Collective. So you can that's where all of our stuff is. And so yeah, we got physical. That one of the reasons I wanted to do that is, one, Eric's local, he's in Dallas, and
Okay.
two, he does physical media. And
Mhm.
being an old school guy myself, I prefer records and CDs.
Absolutely.
So that's something that we can get with the Karen Collective. And so yeah, that's why we have records and CDs.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I think it's really cool that the metal community, it's a few communities that like still work, like the underground hip hop scene is kind of like that, and the metal community, and sometimes the gospel community.
Yeah.
Some of these people are in all three, are kind of older for sure, and
Yeah.
and it's kind of cool to see them actually still supporting physical product. Honestly, it's like, because so much is gone, just digital, and a lot of bands are just surviving off of merch. It's pretty crazy, man. So, yeah, how do you feel about that? Like just streaming and all that?
I mean, on one hand, it is what it is, right? So you can either fight against it or you can embrace it. I mean, it's all over the world. It's millions of people that stream. It's tons of services that provide that streaming service, and social media. I mean, everything's built around it. So you can push against it, and there's nothing wrong with that if you want to, but you could also embrace it for what it is. And so I guess I try to straddle a little bit of both, because I definitely want to push the physical media. That's part of the reason I want to do some live shows, so that we can have a merch table, sell some physical media, and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's part of the game nowadays. You know what I mean? That's
Can
what
we
it
buy
is.
your physical media now?
What's that?
Does your record label sell physical media now? Can we order the CD?
Yeah. Hang on. Let me.
Yeah, there we go.
Here we
Where's
go.
Where's the best place to order this from to support you?
You can get it on Bandcamp.
Bandcamp. Okay.
And it's on the Karen Collective itself, and it's also Burial Extraction on Bandcamp as well. I'm trying to see if I can find if I can find. Yeah. Like.
Oh, look at it's on vinyl too. Nice.
So yeah, we got it on vinyl.
Oh,
I have 2 vinyl. One's a picture disc, but I don't think that's available anymore. Yeah, this is it.
I want it on cassette though.
I don't have it on cassette though. But check this out.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Why is that not framed? That's awesome.
Because it's too cool to frame. It's too
Yeah.
cool to frame.
It's too
Maybe
cool.
maybe one of these days. This was actually the very first pressing of this record, like the
Uh,
very first one.
so you keep that one and get another one to frame. You just got to have 2 copies. There you go.
There you go. There you go.
So,
Yeah.
so I got a question. Does your kids listen to your music?
Oh, that's a good question. So I got 3 kids. My my middle kid loves death metal.
Okay.
Um, she's hardcore. She listens to now. She's listening to slam and brutal death metal.
Okay.
She's pretty hardcore. She likes all that kind of
We,
stuff.
we call that parenting done right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. In fact, she just went to. Not everybody would agree with this, I guess, but she just went to a Peeling Flesh show, actually.
I don't know what it is.
So it's a slam band.
Okay.
So
Okay.
she saw those guys, and actually, I took her to a Napalm Death show with
Oh
me
wow. Okay.
a couple of years back. So yeah, so she's kind of into it. She likes Burial Extraction. The other 2 kids, I mean, they think it's great and all, but they don't listen to it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
That's
you.
cool.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, so a lot of Christian bands feel like their target audience should be Christians, and then some feel like purpose of their music is evangelism. And then even on the side of Christians, a lot of people like, I mean, I can even say in our group, they feel like if the message, if the artwork, if the if everything isn't like catering to what they feel, then it's not Christian, they'd be like,
sure.
um, so like, how do you feel about that? What would you say your target audience is? Are you more concerned about evangelism or just giving Christians an alternative to, I guess secular death metal?
Sure. Well, for me, I think it's a little bit all inclusive. I mean, I think that the Lord works in mysterious ways, and for me personally, it was really important to me when I was in junior high and high school for my growth as a believer to find like-minded bands and people that loved music, loved to play music, listen to metal. I mean, I was so into that stuff, playing guitar, listening to Metallica and Exodus and Testament, and, going to youth group and finding guys that said, hey, we do the same stuff, but, we listen to Deliverance and Tourniquet and check this stuff out. I mean, that was a big deal to me because it changed the people who I was hanging out with. And it changed my perspective on a lot of those things. And so that was a big deal to me. And then also, so it's not just an outreach to Christians from that perspective, but also, I think I hope this isn't controversial, but I think sometimes as believers, it's amazing to me how little we try to get to know the God that we worship. Like studying our scripture, theology, history, knowing the Lord. All of those things are really important. This is who we worship, literally who we worship, and we want to know the God we worship. So if you look at the lyrics, there's some pretty deep theology in some of the lyrics that I have too, and that's really just to encourage believers to like maybe ask some questions or dig deeper. And they can disagree, and that's fine, but
Right.
just to dig deeper. And then also, yeah, as far as outreach, sure, because I think that there are people that will listen to those things and say, this is pretty cool. What are they talking about? And the Spirit opens the eyes and the ears. And if somebody's listening to something, it could spur them on to want to take that and get to know who God is more. So I think it's a little bit of all of the above, really.
That's good. I think it's all needed. I mean, in my
Yeah.
mind, I've always seen disciple like that because they're an encouragement to the church, but they also do gospel outreach, and
Yeah.
they'll play in churches and they'll play in secular venues, wherever, it doesn't matter. So I think,
Yeah.
God, like you said, God can use anything, and there's different ways that the music speaks to people differently.
Yeah. Well, like even in the style I listen to, I mean, Mortification they're a respected death metal band,
Right.
and you can go to death metal shows. Like I said, I mean, I've Napalm Death and all kinds of stuff like that I've been to over the years, even some deathcore back in the day. I saw Whitechapel,
Yeah.
uh, Guar, they're not
Oh,
really death
nice.
metal, but
Yeah.
but all these different bands and people respect Mortification, and they're blatantly Christian.
But they
So
got quality music though. That makes a
yeah,
difference.
exactly.
Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
practice their craft, they get good
Yeah.
at it. So well, what is one of your top two favorite concerts you've ever seen?
Well, let's see. Like Christian or secular or
Yeah.
one or the other, both.
Any, either or.
Okay. Well, if I'm really honest, when I saw Guar the first time,
Okay.
that was unbelievable because of their live performance. If y'all have ever seen videos of what they
Yeah.
I
do,
have. Yeah.
it's
I've been
insane.
to one of the shows.
I just got to admit, I mean, it was insane.
Yeah.
Um,
I've
and
gotten syrup on my shirts.
yeah,
Ah,
it was insane. And actually, um, I saw recently. Actually, I saw Living Sacrifice,
oh,
and
love.
So good.
man, they're amazing live. I mean, they are phenomenal live, and I loved that show. They actually played with POD, so I
Oh
got to see
wow.
them again.
Is
And
Rocky
yeah,
Gray, was he with him? Is Rocky
was
still
that
Rocky Gray? Was he the guitarist?
Yes.
for
Was he still in the band?
with Living Sacrifice?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he's still in there.
he is. Okay, I thought he
Yeah,
was.
this was just a year or two ago, so it's
Mhm.
pretty recent.
So he was the drummer for Evanescence.
Oh,
Right.
okay, I actually didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, that was a great time for sure. I think that was when like Living Sacrifice had gone on a hiatus.
Yeah.
I think when that happened, I wanted to cry. And then Evanescence came out. It was funny. They of course used one of Soul Embrace song. You remember Soul Embrace?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course they Evanescence redid one of Soul Embrace songs, which was
I,
pretty cool.
I
That's
just
cool.
ordered
I actually didn't know that either.
I just ordered Conceived in Fire on vinyl. They got Solid State's running a sale right now. I was like, oh, I better grab that real quick because
Yeah,
Nice.
that's one I
great.
didn't have. I finally got Hammer and Process. That's the tour I saw. I love that. It was one of my favorite shows ever. It was Living Sacrifice, Project 86, and Stavesacre. It's still one of my. I've seen Iron Maiden, Alice Cooper. That's still one of my top shows. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, the other, I just thought of another show too. When I was in high school, I saw The Crucified. I've actually seen them like
Oh man,
I
that's
saw them
funny,
three
man.
times.
Well, brag
But
a little bit. Why don't you?
no, but listen, they actually, this is unbelievable. They came to my high school, and they
Wow.
played with a band, a thrash metal band that just did a demo, and I think they were called Justified. They were a thrash metal band in Southern California, but I saw The Crucified at my school. We had this huge mosh pit, and I got hit in the lip, and to this day, I've got a scar on my lip. That's from a Crucified show.
That's a story that will live on.
I had to get stitches.
Oh man, that's brutal. I'm so glad I haven't had those kind of stories. I've been in some pits before, but man,
Yeah.
Yeah,
man, God is good.
that's right.
Oh my goodness. Wow, I'll tell you that's really good stuff. I'm looking at your just at the music that's out on Apple Music anyway.
Yeah.
So it's hold on. So we got Expelled. Well, yeah, so just Expelled in the Shadow of Things to Come, looking, and then we got oh, so I guess on Apple Music you just have a few singles and then the Shadow of Things to Come and Expelled.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
All of it.
Expelled just came out today.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, that's really cool. I will definitely be like I've listened to the whole thing for sure. I mean, I think I said it before the interview started, but it definitely reminds me a lot of Scrolls era Mortification,
Yeah.
or maybe even Metanoia.
It's amazing how many bands that one album has influenced.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah, that was It's really good. You and Derek are definitely doing a great thing. So, who are some of your bass influences?
My biggest influences would be obviously Mortification.
Mhm.
And so some of these, I don't know how much of it you hear in the music, but it would, for me, it's going to be Mortification, Vengeance Rising,
Mhm.
Believer, and Deliverance and Napalm Death.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Man,
Those would be my biggest influences. And I pull different things from all of them. Like, I guess, like, I'll give you this one as an example. One of the things I love about Deliverance is I think Jimmy's a great songwriter. And I like that all of their songs sound different. I love that. And I love that the records sound different and that there's kind of themes to all of their records. And that's one of the things I get from Deliverance. So if you listen to Burial Extraction, all of our songs, like, they don't sound exactly the same.
Right.
You know, they're in different keys, different time signatures, different kind of stylistically, some fall a little more thrash, some's a little heavier with Death. And I get that from Deliverance, you know, and then the theme too, like there's a slightly different sound from the record and the EP that we just did. So like, that's something I get from them. And from Vengeance Rising, probably Roger Martinez, like his style, his execution, a lot of offbeats in his lyrics. And I do that a lot, like on Butchered Halves. There's a lot of Vengeance Rising lyric or in the vocal execution. You can hear that in that song.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of Vengeance, when you said Vengeance Rising, I thought about a lot of people talk about the different eras of Vengeance Rising. What's your favorite Vengeance Rising album?
Human Sacrifice. I mean, period. That is such a classic record. You know, Once Dead is amazing too, but I keep going back to Human Sacrifice. It's an incredible. And I got to meet Roger Martinez once.
Oh, wow.
I met him in a parking lot at Magic Mountain.
Wow.
We were both going in to see The Crucified.
Wow.
And a bunch of other bands that played that night, but I met him in the parking lot, you know, walking into the show.
Well, that's Vengeance Rising picture disc right there.
I know. I caught that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So here's a fun. Do you know whose hand that is on the album?
Yes, I do. That's Pastor Bob's.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yes, that's true.
He was our very first interview. We've come along.
Sure was.
Yeah, he's cool. I've never met him, but he's really cool.
Well,
huge influence.
It's been years. I'm gonna see him soon.
We're gonna meet him at Immortal Fest. I'm going back for the second year in a row, and it's he's actually offered us to have a spot at his table for Christian group. So it's pretty exciting.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yes, it's gonna be great.
So what are some of your newer favorite bands that you're into? So like within the last 10 years, band that's not been around for 25 years, what were a few of them you're kind of into?
Sure. Well, I really like there's a death metal band from South America. I think they're from south of the border. I don't know if they're Central America or South America. And they're called Implement.
Okay.
You all heard them?
I have not.
They're a Christian band. They're really cool. And they have an old school sound to them. So
you gotta post them in the group. Post them in the group, and we'll check.
Oh yeah, I may have once or twice, but yeah, I'll do it again. I'll do it again for sure. I don't know if they're still doing stuff, but they're really cool because they have that old school death metal sound. So I really like them a lot. Implement's really cool. And then actually, because I don't just listen to death metal. So I love All for the King. I love those guys are awesome. I love that band.
Yeah. So we did a written interview actually with the drummer. So it's on our website. Go check that out.
I will.
Yeah,
I will.
He's a really cool dude. He actually just came out with his own drum line too.
Oh, that's cool.
3D printed wood for the drums.
That's crazy.
It is. It's insane, but it's cool. Yeah. So he's also he's the drummer for Narnia, same guy.
Right.
Oh, that I didn't know that. That's cool.
He's new in Narnia, but he's been Yeah,
he's got I can't remember which one it is, but on their new record, it's the end of the song, and it might have been one of their singles, but I have the record, and like the last minute and a half or something of the song, he's just going off on just a drum. Jay might know which one I'm talking about. He is a phenomenal drummer.
Nice. Phenomenal. That's awesome.
So yeah, those two guys, and actually, I've really gotten into Wolves at the Gate, which is, for me, that's not a band that I was listening to up until just about a year ago. So I've just been enjoying getting to know their whole catalog. I like that band a lot.
They put on a great show. Before we had kids, it's been over 10 years ago, I took my wife. One of her favorite bands is Emery. So I surprised her for her birthday, or it might have been an anniversary. I can't remember now. but it was Emery, Under Oath, and Wolves at the Gate show. It was amazing.
That's
Oh,
pretty cool.
and To Speak of Wolves too, I think. That's another band.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna surprise my wife with a ticket.
Yeah.
A death metal show. She's gonna be like, "What in the heck?"
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say that's death metal, but yeah.
I know it. I'll
Yeah.
just be a
Yeah.
silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have her go to a burial extraction show. Like, yeah, we're going to see burial extraction.
Hey, she's been to Crazier with you, so she would.
This is true. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I tell you, secular concerts are interesting. We have a friend that was driving the bus for, who was it, Dark Funeral? Familiar with Dark Funeral?
Oh yeah,
I know that band.
Yeah, so man, it was all fun and games. Like Cal Decapitation was there. You familiar with them?
Mhm.
Cal Decapitation.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh God, it's so good. I've been trying to see a whole show of theirs forever and didn't even get you this time because I had to go and do some stuff with parking. So I had to go out. So she got to see the whole show and I didn't. But yeah, Dark Funeral came on and yeah, they got to a point in the show where they were like Hell Satan, and I was chanting Hell Satan, dude. It was a little spooky, man. My wife especially, she was so spooked. I was like, I wasn't expecting that, but I mean, I kind of, I've been to shows before,
Sure.
segments.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, stuff like that reminded me of two things, I'll say. Number one, it reminded me that there's a lot of people like in the community that we are in, the metal community, that really need Jesus for sure.
Absolutely.
And that, so we have a lot to do. We have a lot of work to do for sure. And that there's people out there that just really don't want anything to do with God a lot of times, and they choose the alternative, man. So I think we have to like be unafraid, I think, to actually reach out to them, because like God, like there's so many people that are lost.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, for sure.
some just don't know better, and then others actually want to be. So it's like, yeah. There's definitely a better way. There's definitely, yeah, we definitely prayed for the bus driver outside of the Dark Funeral bus.
I bet so, yeah.
Yeah, at the concert. That was a trip for sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
God could use anything though, even a bus driver.
Oh, absolutely. I told him then, I'm like, you're two things. Like, as far as that tour, I was like, you're the only black person on the tour, and you're also the only Christian on the tour.
And he's the only one on the tour never heard of the band.
Right, exactly. Wow. Like, he told me about them, and I was like, yeah, I know them,
Yeah.
But he hadn't known before he was asked to drive for them for sure. But we never know what position, I think, that we're put in. Even you, obviously, with this band, you never, Lord willing, you'll be able to see the result of your work, like the spiritual result of your work, should I say, like the harvest in your lifetime. And if not, there's always heaven, of course.
But that's the thing with music, though. It goes out to everybody. Somebody could order this CD and say, oh, it's death metal. They don't know anything about it. They order it. And I mean, it could literally change your life, but Brian may never know about it. That's one thing you just don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and my, I mean, the Lord's the one making those changes anyway. So if
Right.
he uses that, and I'm sure he will, then yeah, that's awesome. It's all glory to him for sure.
Yeah, that's good. It's real good.
Yeah, for sure. So so here's a question. What is your favorite thing about being a Christian? It's like my
favorite thing about being a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite thing one of the things I love most is Paul, the Apostle Paul, in his epistle, when he says, I do the things I don't want to do. And he says, oh, wretched man that I am, who will save me from this body of death? Thanks be to Jesus Christ. Thanks be to God. The thing I love most about being a Christian is not because of anything that I did or anything that I am, because I am a wretched man, but that the Lord Jesus Christ shed his blood for me, a sinner. That's the most amazing thing about being a Christian, that we are saved by grace. and we don't deserve it. And that is such a profound thing to think about, you know, because it's so undeserving.
That's so good.
That's my favorite thing about being a Christian is the profound awesomeness of having something that I do not deserve.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Love it. So what can the Christian metal community do to support Brian and Burial Extraction?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm sure a lot of the guys say this, but I mean, it's the, especially we talk about streaming. But yeah, buying physical merch and buying physical CDs and records, going to Bandcamp and purchasing those things. Those make huge difference for us. We got all of our, we got t-shirts available at Bandcamp. We also do it through Anchor Merchandising,
Yep.
Christian band
We're
t-shirts.
partnered with them. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's it's Anthony. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of t-shirts, you know, out there that are also available. And then yeah, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, social media, and follow us on the whatever streaming service you use. That if you get enough streams, I mean, that can help too. But I'll be honest with you, a lot of that just goes back into production. But we do this because we love it. I mean, I'm not making a living doing it, but you know,
we thought you was about to retire,
even, at least I can justify with my wife to keep doing it.
Yeah. I thought you was about to retire and, you know, do music full time because you got all them, you got all the Spotify checks coming in.
Yeah, not anytime soon.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, it's really cool that we're able to get this recorded on the day of the release of your new EP. So y'all go check out Burial Extraction on Bandcamp. Buy some music, buy some merch, and help these artists keep going and spreading the gospel. That's what we love to do, man. I really appreciate your time, and this has been great.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Blessings, guys. Thank you.
All right. Blessings to you.